Okay, so in this next video, what we're going to do is focus our energy on creating the interface that is going to render the albums. So we actually have quite a lot of stuff at our disposal. Here in this framework, we have a table, and that table is fully sorted. It has also extra fields for records per page and a search. So very useful. We have different styles as well, one with borders, one with striped rows. So I'm probably just going to focus on this main one here and try to bring this in to our page. So last time we left, we had built everything from the index.php, and so it's a good place to start. Now what we can do is we're going to build our next page out of this one. So we're still going to need a row and a column, but we're going to take away the form, and from there we can also change the column size to become 12 again, so that it fits the entire width. Now we're done with the forms, so we can pretty much close this HTML file, and we're going to look for the one that's called table.html. So again, we still need to scroll down to the part where we can see the table. I see one right here. We see that's table responsive. It's inside a body. So what we're probably going to do to make things easier, we're going to collapse the tag. Again, this is a very simple technique to collapse the tag. It helps make sure that you get everything at once. So we'll take that, and then we'll bring it into the index. Then we'll paste it here. And you can see I'm just using the index as like a boilerplate to build my HTML, and then from there I usually save it as once I pretty much want to give it a purpose. And then, example, if you were to build a home page or something like that, then you would do that in the page itself. So now we can see the different table fields. So these are the fields, and then this is the body. So it has many things inside of it. I see different grades as well. So I'm wondering where these have an impact: grade A, grade X, and so forth. So we're just going to take, and I can see the odd and even as well is already placed there. So we're going to take away a lot of these rows to try to understand a bit better the structure of this table. Now I know that there was also a link. So there's a lot of records here, so let's just take all of them away, and then let's just leave it with 2 table rows. So that way you see in one screen we can kind of see the entire rendering. So we're going to change the title. We're going to call that example view albums, and then we're going to upload this, and then we're going to look at it in the browser. So we can see now we have the tables, and there's also no sorting whatsoever. So what we're going to do here is we're going to try to add that sorting. So this is a client-side operation. Basically you click and something happens in the browser of the customer. It has nothing to do with the data being sent back and sorted on the server. Excuse me. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at which files are responsible for this particular sorting. So usually towards the end of the document you'll find the area where the sorting is being done. You can see the different files here that are included, and we're going to try to compare with the ones that we already have in our footer. So I'm going to open footer, and I see we already have the 3 ones, and these are page level plugin scripts, and these are the 2 page level plugin scripts that we need to add to this specific page only. So if we add them to the footer, they're going to be on every page. So how are we going to solve this? Well, the same way we solved the title in the header, we are going to add a PHP tag and then echo the scripts. Okay, and so inside of these scripts here, it's simply a string that we can then add to this page. So 1 second here. So now, back into our index, we now have just another variable here, scripts, and then we could basically make it equal to that particular string. So we're gonna just put the strings there and like that. So that's very simple. Okay, and now these scripts are going to be only included on this particular side there. Okay, so okay, the next thing, now that we've got that taken care of, we can close the footer, and then we can actually upload the footer, and then also upload our index, and just verify that it works, or actually that the scripts are there. So I see undefined variable scripts. Let me just make sure that it's the right spelling there. Yeah, it is. Let me upload this. And now we have them here. Okay, so if we go back to the footer, I don't know if you guys are wondering why there's the spacing there. We could actually fix that if we really wanted to. It has to do with where the echo is. So usually where the echo is, the first, there's like a tab here in front here, so we're going to take that away. Do we need to update anything else, or? Oh, probably this. Yeah, sorry. Not the one inside the PHP, but the one in front of the tag there. Weird. Okay, well, it doesn't really matter. It still works. Okay, I was just trying to make it look pretty. That's kind of almost a way an undertone there, something in the message saying I actually care even about the way the code is written within my pages, you know. So I like when things are like nicely aligned like this, and you know, I dislike maybe a bit when all the stuff is all over the place. Okay, so that's just how much careful I am with my source code. So but we got the scripts working, so it should mean that we should be able to sort now, and it seems like it doesn't work. So there's probably something missing in the equation here. So let's go and look at our tables files again, and let's look at how they actually had that table sorted. So now this is the tables, this is the menu part, this is the navigation part, and then you can see this is also the sidebar, and this is the table that we took. ID data table example. So I don't know if they had left a script or something somewhere to just activate it, make it work. Let's look for that. Yeah, right here. Page level demo script. Okay, that's under SB admin. And then below the body there. So it's like there's another one. Admin script. So we can go to the footer and then just add this again. Okay, so if we do this, yes, this is going to be on every page, so we could say the same PHP and echo and then $sign. So these are page level script, and these are the script tag for the page. Okay, so it's just the exact same concept. Now we're just going to upload this, go back to our index, and then we're going to add this here. So we're going to say $sign script tag is equal to, and we're going to make, now I don't know if you notice here, but they're using quotes and double quotes. So think we can surround everything and pretty much fairly assume that with a double quote everything should be right. Okay, so data table example, and that's gonna work. So if we upload this, now we have the records, the search. So I'm sure there's something here, data table. I'm sure there are some settings that we can create, and that's probably why they gave us a datatables.net. So this is actually the tool here, and then it shows you the kind of data table. Oh, pretty nice, eh? So it shows you the kind of data table, and then the examples, zero configuration, enabling features, and then you can see in which browser some of the features are supported. Either that or that's the table itself. I'm not sure. Paginate, filter, auto width. I guess these are all some of the names of the things that you can. Some of the plug-in things. Actually, this is interesting, right? Because we weren't supposed to necessarily see that just yet, but this is the object, and then this is the rest of the string. So you know, actually, because this wasn't so much planned, we see also in the same time the usage of a JavaScript plugin. I didn't think that this demo was going to go that far because of that new template that I'm using, but you see that that template makes use of a plugin, and at the same time, by following their lead, you basically get a good catch on what it is on a page to include a plugin and what it's like to learn how to make it work. So now let's just see if we upload this, what are the actual changes that appear on our site. So we lost a few things and we still got the search going. So filter, sort, info, auto width. Is it a filter? So like, no, so it's not a filter. It says search. So this one I guess also has search. Let me see here now. Is there a list? Is usually what we call an API, which is the list of every single function and property that you can change. We're probably interested in the particular object they use to create the table here. So let's see here. The name of the function is data table. Okay. So let's see, function. See, I don't see it anywhere. So not very helpful. How about we say, let's go and look here. Basic initialization, multiple tables, sorting, scrolling, page style, custom events. Dynamically add a new row. That's all the API stuff. Actually, that's pretty nice. What you can do with it is actually pretty awesome. API function used to initialize the object. Okay, so that's the initialize code. We don't want that. Where is it? Selectable rows, submit. I could probably take a wild guess. I see there's a lot of B's there for probably Boolean. Okay, so Boolean example search. I'm just gonna take a wild guess here because I can't find it, and then see what happens. It's not usually a good practice to do that, but the other one that was on that it said filter, I could say false, right? Because that one is on, and actually it could probably be a filter. Did I upload it carefully? Filter, upload. Yeah. So it was the filter. So much easier. Okay, so now I still don't see the sorting. So sort, true. And then let's refresh, and then I can see now I could sort the different columns. Perfect. So we're ready to get started. So we're going to fill it up with our album ID. We're going to fill it up with the artist name, and then the album name, and then we're going to also give the year and the genre, and then we're not going to put the link to the image inside the table. Now here we need to specify whether one of the rows is odd or even, so that's going to make of an interesting scenario there. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there seems to be 2 here, but for some reason, okay, good. I was just trying to understand a bit more about the layout and the look. So let's take this away. And then in this part here, like this is where you're going to render the particular function. So we're going to say, you know, show album show album to me sounds more like something like I would put on the front end of the site. In this case, probably album rows would probably be more appropriate for what it means and what it does. Okay, so now I'm pretty satisfied with this, so I'm going to save it as, and then just like the same, I'm going to call it album view.php. And then I'm going to go into my utils and then create that function album rows. Okay, so now I'm going to put a comment with the kind of HTML that we want to create as a guide, and then we're going to establish the connection by using the same thing that we did earlier. So link is equal to MySQL connect, and then we're actually going to make the connection to the database. So the next thing is we're going to actually capture the results in, and so this is going to be results is equal to MySQL I query, and then a query needs a link, and basically you run SQL. So you're going to define the SQL that you need. And so what do we want to see? Select, and then we list the fields. We select the ID, the name, the artist, the year, and then the genre from the albums. Okay, we just want to list all of them, so so that way we can put them on the table there. So now we're running this query, we're getting all of the results. Now this is the way you actually go over each of the results. So you say while, and this will repeat itself for as long as there are albums, and then it will fetch each row into this variable by saying MySQL fetch, and then array, and then we give it the results to go over. Okay, so once it goes over all of these results, this is the kind of HTML that we want to generate, probably even just one of those. Okay, so I'll bring it close to here, and then I'll build the HTML string. So for example, we could say echo, and then probably single quotes here, and then I don't know, that grade thing, we'll just take it away, and then we'll copy this a few times, Okay, and we need to close it as well. So close, 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 close. And then inside here, we're going to put the actual values that we received. So row, oops, sorry, row, and then we're going to get the ID. And we're going to do that for all of them and change it to their appropriate values. So 1, 2, and then we may not need to say class center here, so we're just going to take that away. And so here we're going to list the artist. Second, we're going to list the album. Third, and then if I remember correctly, we listed the year. This has to match the table, not necessarily the list of fields. And then the genre. This has to match the headers of the table here. ID, artist, album. We'll just write album, year, and then genre. So we go back to our utils. So this is going to create this. Now for even and odd rows, what we could do is create a CSS and then basically say if, and then it's going to be something like a number that we're going to calculate every time, but modulo 2, remember, is equal to 0. So it will make it either even or odd. So example, in this case it would be an I. Okay, so we could start the I at 1 for the first row and say if I modulo 2 is equal to 0, and then $i plus plus, increase it every time. Okay, so maybe we could just change this name of the variable so it becomes more meaningful. So example alt row, or example row number. Okay, so if the row number is modulo 2, then keep going to the next row. And so that builds the CSS class that we need to put here. Okay, so we don't need this comment here. And this will do it. So we're going to upload this to the server, and then we're going to refresh this page. Actually, we probably need to just make sure everything is, this is probably indexed, that's what I thought. So we're going to preview this page. Preview in Chrome. Undefined album rows. Okay, so utils. The function is album rows. So let me make sure that this is including the, yeah, so we need to include the utils. We did that in the add, but I guess we did it later on. So we'll include it under the variables there. Or actually, even I usually include it as the first thing on my page. We'll do the same here. Include utils. Okay, undefined index album. Of course, I made this mistake because I've been playing with the words here and there, changing their meaning. So it's name, not album. I knew this was probably going to happen. So now we have all these albums. We could sort them by ID, by artist, by album name, by year, and by genre. And then we could also now finish this menu. So go inside our album template parts and modify our sidebar. And then the link to this one is album-view.php. And then this one here would be album add.php. Okay. File save. For some reason I see the star, but it's like it doesn't want to save. Okay, good. Upload. Okay, so now that's uploaded. So if we refresh, if we click browse, or if we click insert, we can go from one to the other. Let's add a few more albums. So go to the page and then go to the albums. We're gonna add this one, so that's gonna be the artist name, Man of Steel 2013 soundtrack, and then we're gonna grab this. I'm always gonna check that the link is good. The link is good. We're gonna put it here. We're gonna say add album. Now, we did not necessarily finish our either success or error messages. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do that kind of validation that we've successfully added the album, and then also we're going to look in our framework for other useful elements. For instance, if we go here on form, you could see that you can add an error around a certain field. Okay, so for instance, if somebody forgot to put something, maybe we could put it in yellow, and if somebody wrote something they're not supposed to add, well, we could put it red. Okay, so what we need to see is on the text field, what kind of class do we need to put? So if you see here, the form group, you say has error, has warning, or has success. Okay, and so that probably would ideally be another demo. Let's just make it the success bubble. So where's the bubble? UI elements, notifications, and we could see here inspect element, the alert success class, or example in this case the alert error class, or actually danger. So we're gonna go into our album add, and then this is the part where we kind of added our messages to the page. So we'll create another one, and we're gonna say if the message, basically we're just going to copy everything at this point, else if okay, so I just made a copy, an exact copy of the same if that I had, but the first if is going to be if the message is true, and actually it should be in value and in type. Okay, so we're gonna say alert success, and then here we're gonna say album successfully added, or album added, like I did yesterday. So now I wanted to show you one last thing in this to make this particular message variable more useful. Okay, so we check if it's true, but actually we could be a bit more wise here and modify certain things on the util side. So you see here, as we're creating this variable for the results, okay, we're basically sending the result, and hopefully, you know, if there's an error, we're going to capture that error and put it in there, but the results must be true. Now if you go down to this line, basically you could still check that result is true, and it means that you ran the query and everything is still fine, right? So instead of checking it, you know, outside like we did with the message, we could say if the result is true, and then here we could write the message, like example result is equal to, and then we could say album added. But why would we do this? Because it's an advantage. The advantage is that we can actually add the album name inside of the string. So that's one of the first advantage. The second one is that instead of writing this, okay, what I usually do is I suddenly turn result into an array. So this means that it starts being true, and then if there's a problem like this one where example the year is isn't numeric, Okay, if that ever happens, what I do is I turn result into an array. So result, an example, I'll add example some errors, and then an example I can add many errors, or I can say example the error is equal to the year needs to be numeric, right? I could also check two different things and say example the error or example the warning. You see what I'm saying, right? So example, if it's empty, then warning, the year must be present. If it's not numeric, then error. Okay, so now we're just going to deal with error, but I'm showing you what are, and then example here, as it gets to the bottom, instead we could say results success. Okay, and then you could put the value in it like this. Okay, so the idea now is instead on the other side in the album add, you say if the message, but now you can check if results success. If the result is a success, it's more readable, and then you can actually take result success and just put it here. Echo result success. Okay, and also and then that's where things can get really awesome. You can see success, 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 right? So to create this part here, I could also do something like a function. I'll just write the function above here so you see the relationship. But example, this is what they call it, notification, notify maybe, and then the results, right? So you come here and you say if results, and then you check example if it's an array, is array results. Then you say for each, okay, and then usually you say example types for each results as example key from value. So if you want to see this later on, so basically this is a for each loop, and then this will store the key, which will be example success, and then the value, which will be the message. Okay, and then in this case here we want to print the row, so we're going to say all of this, and we're going to say echo, and we're going to, oops, and we're going to print this part, and then we're going to print the grid, and then we're going to print the alert, and then here we're going to stop the string and add the key, and then here we're going to add the button, and then here we're going to echo maybe example the message, so we could change this message, and then we're going to echo the message, and then we don't need this, and then here we're going to echo the closing div tag, echo the other closing div tag, and then echo. So in this case there's going to be many notifications, and this I'm showing you this from not just from the perspective of this page, but from the perspective of having an entire system with many pages that do many different ads of different kinds. And so you do want to do a lot of notifications, and look at how many things would be on that page. So now the idea here is that we can use the results array to control everything about those notifications. So now it's easy to say that if results is still true, actually we don't even care, we just want to say if results is always going to be something. How do we make it empty? Well, it's going to be empty if results is false. So where did we define results? Oh, we didn't call it results, we called it messages. I'm gonna make it more meaningful by calling notifications. Okay, so notification will change the purpose, and then we'll just say false. Okay, and then as it begins, the only time it will change is when you say insert albums, and then when you come here, you say if there's a notification, which means if it's not false, then you're gonna call notify what? The notifications. Now, okay, so this is still in HTML. We don't need the if. And here, this one is danger. So on the other side, I'm gonna change it to danger instead. Okay, so you can see now with just a small if on the page at the right place, I'm just gonna put that word danger there so I know what to do with it, and I'm gonna grab this and put it inside my utils. Okay, so this will handle all the notifications that I ever need to do. And so here I can see if I insert an album, I can take that danger word away here, and you can see right under the title I have if notifications is not false, notify the notifications. Perfect. So it's really simple code. I can add it anywhere, and now inside my utils here I can see I have control over the CSS and the message using a simple array. So when I come here, this is danger, because that's and then the year needs to be a number, and I could use the blue, the green, any one that's possible in CSS, even make a new one that never existed before. This is going to be like the CSS class, and this is just going to be what's inside of the message. And I can add to it, example, if there's an extra error with the MySQL, well, I don't know, I should stop it, but I could say, example, the same thing for MySQL, results danger. Okay, results success. And you can see I have control over the name of the album, and at the end I can return the results. And actually here, yeah. So do you see what's going on here? So this is pretty interesting. I'm just going to make my code a bit leaner here and cleaner. So this, you can see all the function in this one screen here. So maybe example, when you pause the video, you can analyze this code. Now if we upload this, I'm just making sure I'm going to upload the utils and everything else. We can go back here. That's the template. That's the one that adds. If we browse, it actually worked, but it gave us that red message. So let's try to see now what it does if we try to add another one. Okay, so TOK, footprints, this is reggae 2006, and then the URL. Make sure it works, and then put it in. Add album. Undefined variable result. So I know I called it results, right? So let me just make sure that where did I? So results results, oh, results here. That's the part where I had it. I could have checked on utils line 85. Okay, so insert. I'll try it again. I had one, last one, hopefully the right one. I added this one already. So this is the one I didn't add. Timeless 2008 R&B Soul. Okay. Add album. Cannot use a scalar value as an array on line 86 because it was defined as okay, yeah. How did I do this? Usually I think I define it with no value, but we can change that pretty easily. Make it an array right away, and then instead of checking that it's true, we're just going to check that I think it's called size of, array length. What's the one? Size of results. If it's 0, it means we didn't do anything, and if it's still 0, that means there's still nothing in it. So that's much better. Only thing is I have no other album to add, so I'm gonna ask you to give me an album name, artist name. I hope you have all the information. What's the album name?
My Own Lane.
My Own Lane.
2014.
Probably. And then I'll have to get My Own Lane iTunes. And then, oops, and then copy image URL. So now I don't have the error, but I don't have the right alert. Still adding. So let's see, what's the matter? Okay, so actually this is really useful because also there's something else I've been wanting to. I kind of wrote it on the side of my desk. It's a particular function that PHP has that is like probably one of the really most useful function when you have problems. It's a function that does the rendering of objects on its own. So you could say echo. It's called var dump. It allows you to dump any object, any array into a variable, and you can see exactly what's inside of it. So now we're going to insert. We're just going to try anything. Would have been nice to have another real one, but no, that's okay. Let's see here. If we just say add album, you can see here it says danger. The year needs to be numeric. You see that? Now the reason I wonder is why doesn't it put it inside here? So it's probably something we forgot to save actually. It's probably just that. We don't have our notifications here updated. See? Now it's updated. So now if we let's say add an artist name. Anybody else you want to add another one, or one of these type? Electronics, R&B, soundtrack. I think I can know of another soundtrack. And then what is it? Inception. We'll just make up a year for it. What? Anybody know the year of the movie release? I'll just say 2011. I'll just take a wild guess, and then we'll get the confirmation here. That's Inception soundtrack. 2010, so almost. Copy image URL, and then we'll put it inside the admin. Add album. Okay, album inception added. And you can see that's the var dump at the top. So it was just because we didn't save, so it would have actually worked. Always make sure you save your things. So this is pretty much the end, because now you have a fully functional thing. Maybe the next steps would be to, I probably added the second one there. I probably should do some things on the server, you know, and then it's pretty much now the next steps are pretty much for you to figure out. Example, I have more than one album with this person, so I could see here that they're grouped. If I group the styles as well, or put the years in order. Okay, so this is it. Was there any other questions you guys wanted me to add something here? So we've covered the notifications, the while, and then pretty much finishing up with the framework. So we got it all. Next thing would be to build a nice little search bar here and get it to display albums based on the search. And then all of that is pretty much the next things we need to discover. Create relationships. Essentially, this is just one entity. Now when you start dealing with multiple entities, you have to develop relationships in the table. And so hopefully this you'll like and you'll watch over and over. Okay.